Hi Tubers, hi, I'm back. We're 20 Books 2022 and it's a Christmas book because obviously this will be uploaded for December, but it's August. And hey, the ultimate, the most classical of Christmas books or Christmas novellas, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Charlie Shop Job. Yes, I know. So anyway, let's not pretend no one's seen a rendition or interpretation or film version of Christmas Carol. It's one of the most popular versions, and it's been deconstructed, interpreted, reread, ripped apart many times, including me. I actually wrote a couple of years ago my own twisted version of A Christmas Carol. I might put it down there so you can see for yourself. So yeah, even me. Okay, actually, I went over. See, the original Christmas Carol is only 26,000 words. I went over that. I did a little bit more. So anyway, so I love A Christmas Carol and I know A Christmas Carol, but it's always good to reread A Christmas Carol because it's not even a long book, okay? Let me read the blurb on the back. Okay, who never heard of A Christmas Carol? Right. Old man Scrooge has no friends or family to love him. He's just as miserable and bitter. One freezing cold Christmas Eve, Marley's ghost plays Scrooge a visit and takes him on an eerie nighttime journey. The Christmas spirit shows Scrooge the error of his ways by visiting his past, present and future, where Scrooge learned to love Christmas and everyone around him. Now Charles Dickens himself, okay, he was a very complicated man, okay? And there's a lot of what he went through in this. He didn't have an easy life. His father was squandered a family fortune. He had to work doing horrible labour. A lot of it was in the book Hard Times that kind of covered that. And he was determined. He was determined to make a name for himself, and he absolutely did. I mean, we call this time of Victoria, this time Dickensian London, okay? Because Oliver Twist, Martin Chuzzlewit, Great Expectations, A Christmas Carol, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, his last unfinished novel, okay? So he wanted to be known. He wanted to be remembered. After this book came out, he did tours, one man tours of him just going around and doing renditions, standing there talking through Christmas Carol. He would, the fact he ran up on a £10 note, he was absolutely stoked with. However, he was a very complicated man and also a terrible husband. I'm going to say this for now, he was an absolute terrible husband. Um, him and his wife had 10 children. And because she wouldn't divorce him because he wanted to be with his mistress, he spent a many like period of time trying to get her committed to an insane asylum, right? Because he could do that. So I'm not going to say again say okay that he was a wonderful human being because he wasn't. He was a terrible husband. There, it has to be said, right? Charles Dickens was a terrible husband, right? So, however, his books are remembered, and this man, if you watch the film, The Man Who Invented Christmas, a lot of the things in this book at the time became Christmas editions. At this time, when the book came out, which was 1860, I think it was 1863, okay? And this book was, at the time, Christmas wasn't really the big holiday that is today. It wasn't all about crass commercialization, consumerism. People still went to work on Christmas Day. Actually, people still do work on Christmas Day, I myself included. So, because Christmas hadn't really taken hold yet, it's only kind of later on, okay, where you're a bit more, move through the Victorian period, okay, the 19th century going into the 20th century, it becomes a little bit more, okay. And the introduction is by Anthony Horowitz, by the way, who's a top bloke, and I've actually met him. Okay, so let me just open it. This is famous. This is a famous opening. Okay, which if you're watching Muppet's Christmas Carol, you're gonna love this. Now I think I love the Muppet's Christmas Carol, and I do know my Muppets and my Christmas Carol. Is Muppet's Christmas Carol is unique in the canon because you've got Gonzo and Rizzo, who's there for the food, actually doing the text. He's standing there as Charles Dickens, actually narrating the story. Okay? Right. Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt about that. The registry of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon, charged for anything he chose to put his hand to. And Marley was dead as a doornail. What an opening. What an absolute opening. Okay? Oh. So, this ambivalent kind of narrator, okay, about Scrooge, okay, this kind of third person narrative, okay, and I'm just saying this because I love this line. Oh, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. I can't say it like Gonzo, I'm afraid. So, what a line. What a line. I mean, one thing about Dickens is he knew how to turn a phrase. But can you imagine the 1860s actually reading this? Okay? Right. So he's at his day job. Um, Bob wants the night, the Christmas day off because he wants to be with his family. As I said before, this wasn't normal at the time. Okay, but people actually had to ask for time off for Christmas. Okay? And then obviously Scrooge starts seeing Marley's ghost in the doorknob. He goes to his very, very small apartments, okay? And Marley's ghost shows up, okay? And we all know the bit. He comes in with his chains, you know, mankind should have been my business. You were visited by free spirits, okay? And this bit, just this bit here though, just the strength of Dickensian prose. "Oh, captive bound and double ironed," cried the phantom, "I know the age assessment of labour by immortal creatures of this earth might pass into eternity, for the good of which is susceptible and all developed." Problem is, you read that, and your mind goes to Marley and Marley from the Muppets Christmas Carol. It is my favourite Christmas film, okay? Next to Die Hard. So, hey, look, I enjoyed this book, okay? I'm biased, it's my YouTube channel, alright? So, join me on this ride through a Christmas Carol, okay? However, one thing I have noticed in rereading this text, is ghosts and spirits is used intermittently, okay? One minute they are the ghosts, okay, of Christmas past, present, and future, but then there are these spirits. Now, maybe you should, because, okay, Marley is a ghost, okay? He's dead. He dead as a doornail, okay? Book even opens like that. He is a ghost, okay? However, past, present, and future show up, but it intermixes. Are they spirit? One minute they're spirits, and then they're ghosts, okay? I just wish the text would have made that a little bit more clearer. Okay, what are they? I mean, you've got present talking about I have lived before. Okay, my brothers lived before me, kind of thing. And but then you've got the kind of corporeal past. But spirits or ghosts, figure it out, mate. Okay, and also the way it's set up as well is Marley says you will be visited at 1 o'clock, at like midnight, 1 o'clock, but every other day. That's pretty much about the way it says. So suddenly it's present shows, so past shows up, but Scrooge missed a day, but then he hasn't. Now I like the kind of ambiguity. It's kind of playing fast and loose with time. And when Dickens wrote this, he was under a lot of pressure. I actually didn't make a lot of money from this because he existed on top class illustrations, but had to be reprinted. So hey, so it's so much ambiguity with this, which is actually quite a kind of for assault on the senses, because reading this at the time, you'll be like, what is going on? Okay, I just bit here. "Why, it isn't possible," says Scrooge, "that I can sleep through a whole day, far into the night. It's impossible that anything has happened to the sun, and this is 12 at noon." So he's lost a day. But it started on Christmas Eve. So, yeah, yeah, right. And one thing I did like, now there's always been a bit of ambiguity here, okay, is during Scrooge's time at his boarding school, okay, he's left there for Christmas. He spends it alone, okay. Everyone goes, most people apart from him. He sits alone. His mother is dead. His father passed him off to boarding school. But there's this one bit here, and I love this ambiguity. This bit here, okay. This is when Fran shows up on Christmas Eve, okay. "I've come to bring you home, dear brother," said the child, clapping her tiny hands and bending down to laugh. "To bring you home, home, home." "Home, little Fan?" "Yes," the child brimmed through glee. "Home for good and all. Home for ever and ever. Father is so much kinder than he used to be, that home is like heaven. He spoke so gently to me, dear night. I was going to bed. I was not afraid to ask him once more if he could come home. And he said, yes, you should. And he sent me a coach to bring you." "And you ought to be a man," said the child, opening her eyes. You're never to come back here, but first we're to be together all the Christmas long and have the merriest time in all the world. I've always wondered, what's a bit of ambiguity? Was Scrooge's father visited by the ghost? Now, we never ever meet Scrooge's father, okay? But suddenly on Christmas, he suddenly has a change of heart. Did the spirits visit him? Did the spirits show him his future of a child who he never knew, and as a child that would die in childbirth? That's fun. So, but it didn't work. It didn't do a good enough job. This is the spirits kind of trying to create a bit of like generational damage. Okay, they missed the father. Okay, it didn't work. The Scrooge turned out darker than his father, so they're to repair the damage. Especially without Fran. With her dying in childbirth, Scrooge lost his one good link to his good family. And in some ways, I think in some ways, okay, Scrooge in some ways would blame Fred for her death, his nephew, because it's unavoidable that in this time period, as still today, people do die in childbirth. Okay? But then we touch the Cratchits. This is during Christmas present. Okay, it's up to Cratchits. And, okay, I'm going to say this right now, okay? I've never liked Tiny Tim. Ever. Okay? Now, Tiny Tim is meant to be the embodiment of hope and generosity. Little Tiny Tim with his cane. Little hobbling little Tiny Tim. Yeah, okay, right. I'm nasty about this, okay? But, okay? Tiny Tim is basically got to be the vessel for everything that's good. Okay? He has to be this certain kind of way. Alright? Right. Oh, God, I hate this bit. How did little Tim behave, said Mr. Cratchit, when she rallied Bob on his credulity, and Bob had Huddy's daughter to his heart's content. As good as gold and bed art. Somehow he gets full sitting by himself so much, and there's the strangest things you ever could have heard. He told me coming home that he hoped people might see him in church because he was a cripple. And it's the dialogue. And it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see. Okay? Yeah, Tiny Tim said that. Just cynical me. But like, sorry, you have to look. Yes, look at me. I am Tiny Tim. Okay, with my little crutch and a little cough, and remember. Oh, I hate Tiny Tim. God, I hate you. Okay. Apart from Robin in A Christmas Carol, okay, because I kind of hate Robin. Okay. So the Cratchits in their meager little home with their massive little family. Okay, all the at this point all the ones get out in service and coming home for Christmas. And the famous bit, okay, now you always get to wonder, okay, about the dynamic of Bob and his wife's, Bob Cratchit and his wife's marriage, because he raises a toast to Mr. Scrooge, okay? To Mr. Scrooge, said Bob, I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast. The founder of the feast, indeed. You're here, Miss Piggy, right now, aren't you? Indeed, said Miss Cratchit, reddening. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and I hope he's having a good appetite for it. My dear, said Bob, the children Christmas Day. It should be Christmas Day, I'm sure, she said. Oh, and which one drinks the health of such an old, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge? You know who he is, Robert. And no one knows it better than you, poor fellow. My dear, was Bob's mild answer, Christmas Day. I drink his health for your sake. And the days, said Miss Cratchit, not for him, not for his. Long life to him, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt. And a bit of a shadow, okay? Right, after that. The dynamic, okay? Miss Cratchit's awesome, okay? I just want to mention, though, there's a version that came out a couple of years ago with Guy Pearce as Ebenezer Scrooge, and the Miss Cratchit in that, oh, that one's a bit messed up. I do recommend it, though. It's always good. And one thing I do need to point out as well, because even I point this out in my bit, ignorance and want. Now, ignorance and want, okay, are always typically put in with a Ghost Christmas Future, because a Ghost Christmas Future comes out a spectre, a shadow, ghostly figure, and under his cloak is ignorance and want. Okay, no, it's past and present has ignorance and want, because I like that. Now, this one thing that kind of annoys me is it being changed. Is you have the Ghost of Christmas present, big, jolly, a giant who can kind of shrink down, okay? Going on this merry little jaunt around London, Merry Christmas, showing how great everything is, okay? But it's all a facade, okay? Under his cloak is ignorance and want. And I love that. They're being dragged on this journey, okay? It's all about the light and the darkness, okay? Whilst Christmas is a time for family and jollity and presents and things like that, things that weren't even really in the sphere at this point, having ignorance and want there is crucial because it shows how people struggle. People are going through dark times, and it's difficult. And the fact that this wiped into future, well, you know, this is ignorance and want. From the foldings of his robes, it brought two children, wretched, abject, frightful, hideous, miserable. They knelt down at his feet and clung at the outside of his garment. "Oh man, look here, down here," exclaimed the ghost. They were a boy and girl, young, meagre, ragged, scowling, wolfish, but prostrate to in their humility. Which graceful youth should have been filled their features out and touched them with its freshest tints. A stale and shriveled hand, like that of Ada, pinched and twisted them and pulled them into shreds. Where angels might have sat enthroned, devils lurked and glared out menacing. No change, no degradation, no perversion of humanity in any grade. Through all their mysteries of wonderful creation that had monsters half so horrible and dead. Right. "Spirit, are they yours?" "They are man's," said the spirit, looking down upon them, "and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. The boy is ignorance, the girl is want. Beware them both, and all of their degree. Most of all, beware this boy, for on his brow he is written what is doom, and the writing be erased, deny it." See? Yeah, it's always whacked into future, because that's scarier, and that actually is scarier. So, hey, so very scary version is Scrooged. Watch that one with Bill Murray. Hey, I know my Christmas carols. Okay, so interesting as well is that Scrooge wakes up. He says he finds his grave, and the fact is, whilst he's been dead, everyone's been ripping him off, and Tiny Tim has died, and it's basically the worst Christmas ever. Okay, and he wakes up, and this bit here is when he gets dressed, looks out of his windows. He's a little boy, okay, and says, "Do you remember that turkey?" Now, at the time, it was goose, okay, which most people ate because turkey was a luxury, okay. Right. Mm-hmm. "Do you know the poulter's in the next street, the one at the corner?" "Okay, I should hope I did," replied the lad. "An intelligent boy," says Scrooge, "a remarkable boy. Do you know where they sold their prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the prize turkey, the little prize turkey, the big one." "What, the one as big as me?" returned the boy. "What a delightful boy," says Scrooge. "It is a pleasure to talk to him." "Yes." Right. Right, go and buy it, okay? Doesn't go and buy it, and takes it to Bob Cratchit's, okay? Right. "I sent it to Bob Cratchit's," whispers Scrooge, rubbing his hands and spitting it with a laugh. "He shan't be know who sent it. It's twice the size as Tiny Tim." Right. Who's going to be cooking the damn thing? It's Christmas Day. Okay, can you imagine, okay, Mrs. Cratchit sitting there, okay, with her meager little goose, which she's slaved over this tiny little stove, everything her family's put together. So there's a knock at the door, and there's this kid showing up, okay, in a carriage, right, which Scrooge didn't pay for, and he paid for everything else, right, with a massive turkey. Cooking that will take forever. They're never going to eat that. Here you go. They're never going to eat that. Now, also is this. Now, Scrooge sends that turkey over to Bob Cratchit's. He never goes over there himself, okay? He never goes over to Bob's to do the big kind of thing that he normally does, okay? In most versions, he just shows up at the door, okay? He goes over to his nephews, right, instead, okay? But this bit here, this is when the day before, when he said to the, like, charity man walking around, "Do you give to the poor in the almshouse?" He said, "No, because I give to the workhouses and people could better die and decrease the surplus population." Okay. Now, in the book The Battle for Christmas, okay, when I did a review for a while back, it mentions this moment. Now, the thing is, Scrooge is never even explored what he does for a living, by the way. He's either a moneylender or he owns properties which people pay rent for, but he is very, very wealthy. Okay, but however, he's not in the upper sphere. Okay, he's a self-made man, but he has never really had the respect. He has never had the doors opening for him. Okay. So when he sees him again in the street, okay, and says this, right, and it's a bit here, right. My dear sir, said Scrooge, quickening his pace and taking our gentleman by both the hands. How do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. Merry Christmas to you both. Right. Mr. Scrooge? Yes, said Scrooge. This is my name, and I fear it may not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon. And will you have the goodness here? Scrooge whispered in his ear. Lord bless me, cried the gentleman, as if his breath were gone. My dear Scrooge, are you serious? If you please, said Scrooge, not a farthing less. A great money-back payment included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favour? My dear sir, said the other, shaking hands with him. I don't know what to say. Such magnificent. Is there anything, please? Retorted Scrooge. Come and see me. Will you come and see me? I will, cried the old gentleman, and it was clear he meant to do it. Thank you, sir. I'm much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you. Okay, so he doesn't go to Bob Cratchit's house because he is still Bob Cratchit's employee. Okay, he's not going to quit his sphere to go beneath the sphere. He spent the time in, in Fantasyland, okay, or in the dream, or whatever the spirit actually was, seeing this. But he's not going to quit his sphere to go to that sphere. However, he's going to make sure Tiny Tim doesn't die. Okay, Tiny Tim doesn't. But he's not going to go and do that because Bob is still his employee. He's not his friend. Okay, and with him talking to the gentlemen who were, he's not going to go beneath himself. However, with him talking to the gentlemen who were collecting alms for the poor, he has now elevated himself. He has gone from being a businessman to being a philanthropist. Now that in itself will open more doors for Scrooge, more enter a higher sphere. That will kind of elevate him as well in London. Okay, he'd be known for his generosity, but he'll also be able to do more business too. Okay, one thing Dickens probably didn't think about at the time, but that's an interpretation, and that was in the Battle for Christmas. Okay, I will put details to that underwards, and also the link to that if you want to actually get that book. And also my review actually was really good. So, Christmas Carol is an amazing book. Okay, all the things in it which weren't in the public sphere at this time began to enter. Okay, so I mean, the film The Man Who Invented Christmas wasn't wrong. I mean, he helped invent a lot of the traditions, or kind of bring them to the attention as well. And Christmas is what it is now, okay, but it's a magnificent book. And even Charles Dickens, for all his faults and his flaws and the kind of husband he was, he knew how to turn a phrase. He really did. And the Muppets Christmas Carol is still the best version, and I will stand by that. So anyway, if you're watching this, recording it in August, Merry Christmas everyone. If it was even weird to say that, but take care. 20 books 2022. This actually may be the last one I'll be uploading. So if so, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. There will be 23 books 2023. So sign off now. Bye.